Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Gym Owner's Guide to the Galaxy. This podcast is a production of Sweat Angels. Sweat Angels helps gym owners generate friend-to-friend referrals on Facebook. Every month, thousands of affiliate gyms, group fitness clubs, yoga studios, and martial arts schools rely on Sweat Angels to help them grow. To learn more about Sweat Angels, head to causely.com/Sweat Angels. That's causely.com/Sweat Angels, or just search for us on Facebook. Thanks for listening today. I'm John Ruggie.
And I'm Matt Sharp. In today's episode, we'll talk to Dave the Mustache Colina, founder and president of Formula O2 and all-around great guy. Today, Dave will share how Formula O2 came to be and his tips on running a kick-ass retail operation at your gym. Hey guys, we are very, very excited to have Dave Colina on the show today. Dave is a good friend from back in the day. We met in 2014 at a professional fitness exerciser event. And that was our first booth I think Sweat Angels ever had. I don't know about Dave, but we were very, very rookie back then.
Low budget.
Yeah, we were push-ups contests for T-shirts and gift certificates to probably barbecue joints back then. But Dave is one of the guys we made friends with there. He had a crazy curled up mustache, and he gave us some amazing drinks that ended up making their way back to our gyms after that. But we became friends, and Dave's just a very, very cool guy, and has helped a lot of gyms kind of build out their retail and branding and just helping them kind of up their cool level with their members. So very happy to have Dave on the show. And Dave, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got started? And then we can kind of get into some of the other stuff.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. First, I've got a question for you. Be honest, do you still like me as much now that I don't have a mustache anymore?
It's definitely strained the relationship. We're still friends, but
Not as close.
Not as much. Yeah, when we turned on video today, I was a little disappointed.
It's like if your wife gets a haircut and it's...
So you weren't angry, you were
like
just...
Yeah.
It's like,
a little sad for you, mainly.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, for sure, guys. I'm happy to tell you a little bit about my background. We launched Formula O2 in 2014, and we all met at the Central East Regional in Cincinnati. And that was, I think, a whopping 3 or 4 months after we had first launched. So I hesitate to call that our first booth because it wasn't even our booth. If you remember, we were sharing. Right. We were sharing because we were too cheap, still are, to pony up for a booth. So we were sharing booth space with a local coffee shop. And so we were housed within this local coffee shop booth at Central Regionals in Cincinnati. And we had a blast that weekend. I mean, I drove down to Cincinnati from Columbus with a car full of Formula O2 on Friday morning, and we sold through it on Friday and drove back up Friday night, loaded up at the warehouse, and then did the same thing on Saturday. And I think that we first met either Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. I can't remember if I won the push-up contest or was just a very close finish. I can't recall off the top of my head.
I'm sure you had a dream that you won the push-up contest.
Maybe it was the pull-up contest. I'm not sure.
You got an award for something.
Yes, exactly.
Participation.
But that was our first big event with O2, and since then we've done a lot of other events like that. Our biggest one so far has probably been the Arnold that we just did a couple weeks ago. I'm still recovering from the Arnold.
Dave, your email works.
That's what I keep hearing.
You're very popular today.
I'll close that off. You guys can and will edit this, I'm sure, right?
Nope.
Nope.
No, just straight.
Embarrass all of us.
Hey, so tell us why you started Formula O2.
So that's an easy question. In 2010, I was working at Nationwide Insurance, which is headquartered here in Columbus. And I was I believe I was still working in corporate strategy. And I was working super long hours. I was working out. I wasn't doing CrossFit yet. I started CrossFit, I think, in 11. But I was doing like circuit training and high intensity interval training. And I was eating pretty clean, but I was fueling this lifestyle of mine with a lot of Gatorade and a lot of Red Bull. And so I remember having this conversation with a friend of mine who, at the time, he was finishing his residency at Ohio State. And he was like, you know what, I do the same thing. I mean, he does triathlons. He was training a lot. Obviously med school kept him pretty busy. And we tried to eat clean, but we were just drinking like garbage. And we couldn't really, come up with a better alternative in terms of what to supplement our diet and exercise regimen with in terms of a drink. I think I'm a big coffee fan personally. I drink it every morning, but I'm not going to drink coffee before a workout. I think that coconut water is great in theory, but for me, I just personally don't like the taste. So we couldn't find anything better. So we decided, let's try and make something for ourselves. And that was 2010. We thought it would be really easy to make a drink that is all natural, tastes delicious, and delivers on its functional promise. Turns out it takes a little bit of time. We spent 4 years in R&D, and so we officially launched Formula O2 at the Arnold Sports Festival in 2014. So that's how the drink came to be.
What's the story behind the name?
Formula O2?
Yep.
So we try to make it telegraphic and kind of interesting. But at the end of the day, I think that a name is just as good as what you put behind it as a brand. We came up with Formula O2 based on the actual formulation and what makes it most unique. One of the big selling points of O2 is not necessarily what's inside of it, but also what's not inside of it. So, for example, we don't have any artificial ingredients, and we have a very simple, clean ingredient list. There are about 12 ingredients most everybody's heard of. But one of those few ingredients is highly oxygenated water. And, depending on how much time I've got with somebody to tell them about our drink, I'll either get into the oxygen part or I won't, because it's a little complicated. But Formula O2 was named Formula O2 because of the highly oxygenated water component of that. So that's why it's called Formula O2. But a lot of times I'll just position it to people as a healthier alternative to the Gatorades and Red Bulls of the world.
Did you guys bootstrap yourselves, or did you have investors helping you along?
We bootstrapped for the first 3 years of development. So we did some prototyping on our own. We did a lot of research. I came into this from a strategy and marketing background. So I'd done, in my past life at Nationwide, I'd done a lot of different types of market research for Nationwide, focus groups, qualitative, quantitative research, stuff like that, stuff that I could never afford to replicate in the startup world. But I did want to make sure that we did our homework. And so somebody's phone's working, just to...
I know whose it is.
My wife knows exactly.
Well, that's allowed. But we got ourselves through the first 3 years of doing this as sort of a side business, and it wasn't didn't cost a ton of money, but to do research, to do prototyping, that's going to cost some money, and so we bootstrapped ourselves through that. And then once we were in a position where we were ready and confident to move forward with a large production run with the product that we had developed over the past, at the time it was 3 or 4 years, that's when we brought on a small group of investors. So we raised some cash. In the beverage world, people would scoff at the small amount relative to what other beverages are raising. But one of the things that I pride myself in is the ability to stretch a buck. So we raised some cash, not a lot, in order to afford to do our first large production run. And since then, we have done one other small fundraise with the same people. And it's a total, I think, it's under 10 investors. And we've been able to get really far on very little. So to answer your question, we bootstrapped. Technically, we bootstrapped the first 3 or 4 years, but I still think of us as bootstrapping in many ways.
So can you talk a little bit about how you are getting into the gyms individually? Because there's different paths for a drink to get to market, and you guys have chosen to go to the gyms directly, and have them buy from you directly, which is a different path. So can you talk about how you did that, why you came to that decision?
Yeah, for sure. We've taken a very calculated and meticulous approach to growing this business. And so our approach is highly favors quality over quantity when it comes to our accounts. So how we started retailing at Maximus is a pretty good example. We met you guys. That was May of 2014.
Yep.
I think we talked about getting O2 in your gym that same month or the following month. And we wanted to make sure that we could do everything that we could to make it successful at Maximus. And I think that we have. Hopefully we have.
Yep.
And so we tend to work really closely with our gyms on the retail side of things to ensure that the partnership is successful. So what we don't do is we don't just ship somebody a bunch of cases and say, hey, good luck selling it. We'll let us know if you need anything. We tend to be very rigorous with our customer service. We tend to be very hands-on when it comes to now especially setting up Formula O2 for success based on your own individual retail operation. And we also tend to be very, I would imagine, much more hands-on when it comes to various types of sponsorships or, customer service related issues. I mean, we have a real live person who's making phone calls and who's, answering emails to all of our gyms every week. And it's definitely much more time intensive, but I'm very confident that we are, the partnerships that we have, while they're much fewer than other brands that are in our industry, I'm very confident that they're much higher quality as well, just on a personal level, but also on a sales level. So it's very grassroots. It's very store by store, gym by gym. But instead of trying to get into as many places as we can and sell people as many products or as many cases as we can right off the bat, we prefer to work closely with an account to make sure it's successful and only then move on to other accounts.
So your approach really demands that your customers have or create a retail operation. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've worked with everyone from people who are just getting started with retail for the very first time
Mm-hmm.
to folks who have an ongoing operation and this is another product that they'll add to the mix. So
Yep.
I'm curious just to hear what your observations are after working with that spectrum of gym owners.
Yeah.
And hear just some general advice you have for how to do retail well.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. I mean, I've been studying retail, particularly in the fitness industry, really closely for the past year, I would say. And I've found that retail success comes down to anything else in life. It's like anything else in life. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. It's not related to the size of your gym. It's not related to the type of gym you have. It's not related to your geography. It's not related to, what other people in your area are doing. It's purely related to how much time and effort, and really how much effort are you, the gym owner, willing to invest in your retail operation. At the end of the day, it's one of those things where we know we've got some great tips that we can offer a gym on introducing our product and other products into their retail operation and to their members that will work. They're proven to work. But at the end of the day, I can't make anybody do that stuff. Ultimately, it's up to the gym owner to put in the effort to introduce Formula O2 or any other retail product into their gym. But we have found that when gym owners are willing to do that, I mean, this is one of very few things that can pay off quite a bit retail, quite a bit in terms of a financial increase outside of just what you're pulling in from membership. And so the payoff is quite high, but it does take time and it does take effort.
I think one of the things, and see if you agree with me, I think one of the things that some gym owners miss is the opportunity, both financially and also from an customer
Mm-hmm.
experience, of having a good retail setup.
For sure.
Having really good apparel that your members are proud to wear and having easy access to that, and
For sure.
also just having good products I know that some gyms worry that they can buy things elsewhere, but it takes away from the experience of going to the gym and being able to grab it right then. Also,
Yeah.
you like supporting, your gym. And there's also products that you can find at these gyms like that you work with that you can't find these anywhere else. So it is kind of cool to be able to go into the gym and buy an O2 when that's the only place in town they can get it,
I completely agree. And we at least have done that on purpose. I mean, we only sell O2 right now. It's CrossFit gyms and it's Whole Food stores. We just entered into a partnership with Europa, actually, that's going to broaden that pretty significantly, but it's still fitness industry. It's not going to be at the gas station down the street. Our product's not going to be something you can get at the mom and pop shop, probably. So it's something where you can absolutely enhance your members' experience with your retail operation if you take a little bit of time and put in a little bit of effort to making it successful from the get-go. In terms of the dollar opportunity, and you guys know this as well as anybody, there are only so many members that you can pull in. And as such, there's only so many membership dollars that you can pull in. But I've found with our gyms, now not all gyms, because not all gyms are putting in this effort, but with our gyms that put in the effort to their retail operation, they're increasing their revenue per member between 20 and 40% if they actually commit to retail. And that's a lot. In my eyes, that's a heck of a lot.
And when you say commit to retail, you mean just nutrition or clothing, accessories, a whole range of things, all of it.
Yeah, I think that's a point that a lot of them miss is like they know that on average a member pays, $120 a month and there's nothing else for them to purchase. And they're probably not going to want to pay, above a certain rate at any point. Yeah. But when you have these other things that they have access to, like apparel or drinks, they are going to buy that stuff somewhere and they want to buy it from you. So if you don't have it, you're really missing out on a lot of revenue opportunity.
Totally. I mean, you got to be cognizant of what you're allowing into your gym. I know you guys are pretty selective, and I encourage all gyms to be very selective with respect to what they sell at their gym, because if you sell a product, you're endorsing that product. After a certain point, if you have a whole host of different supplements and drinks and apparel lines that you're selling, it's going to get unwieldy. I recommend between 5 and 10, different products total, depending on your size. I know Maximus has a much more advanced retail operation. You guys have been working on it for a long time. But I would suggest keep it simple, keep it clean, keep the stuff that you yourself support. But if you start selling that stuff, if you like it, your members are going to like it too, because they're just like you, right?
Yeah, they'll do what the coaches and the leadership do.
Totally. 100%. So if you start selling stuff that you like, your members are going to like it too. And by the way, most members are pretty darn loyal to where they work out. So you're absolutely right. They're looking for this type of stuff because of who they are, and they would love to support their box. This is why people, I wear my gym's t-shirt almost all the time. If I'm not wearing an O2 shirt, I'm wearing a CrossFit shirt that I picked up at one of our retailers. I love supporting the gyms that I work out at, and the gyms that support us. And gym members are no different. I think everywhere you find that loyalty. So not only do they want to buy these products, but they also want to support their gym at the same time.
Yeah, I know one of the things, and I've seen this myself, if there's nothing for them to buy and they want something, then they leave the gym. Mm-hmm. So like if they finish a workout and they would like something to drink and there's nothing there, then they leave to go somewhere to buy it versus if they buy it and drink it there and kind of hang out.
Sure.
And that's really, that's a great part of the community, is getting people to hang out and connect outside of the workouts and just get deeper relationships. Well, also one of the things that I've seen for a lot of gyms is that the retail can actually pay for a front desk person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, I can't afford to have a front desk person. But if you have a decent retail, then it would pay for that. And now your members have access to somebody that's always smiling, checking them in. And that's a huge benefit now. And also they have access to all these products. Yeah. So those things can definitely, like our goal is always to have our retail support paying for our front desk. And even if we're at a net, zero on that, it's a huge service to be a net zero to add to our membership.
Totally. Because obviously that adds a degree of professionalism. I think that adds a degree of welcoming. I think that adds a degree of significantly higher customer service. And I saw that article that you wrote, Matt, in Box Pro magazine, where you touched on that, and I thought it was spot on. I mean, I think a lot of people might be a little hesitant to jump into retail in that capacity right off the bat, but it's like anything else. You gotta take risks, right? If you're a small business owner, you're used to that sort of thing. But I think that if you do retail in a way that's intelligent and in a way that makes sense for your membership base, it's no stretch to see that paying off enough to be able to afford somebody at a front desk in no time. I would say a month or two tops.
And other businesses do this, right? Like you go to the gas station, you don't just buy gas. They have a huge retail operation.
Totally. There's a reason why.
There's a reason why they do that.
Yeah. You talked about doing that intelligently, and a lot of that comes down to the right benchmarks. Mm-hmm. One of the ones I wanted to get your feedback on was Payback Period. So let's say I'm getting started for the first time, and I'm going to invest something small, say $1,000. What's a good benchmark for me to look at for a payback period? Obviously, it's not a decade, but I'm not going to expect to recoup that money tomorrow. So, is there a good kind of baseline that someone who's getting started could shoot for, so that they know that they're cycling that inventory at the right pace?
Good question.
You should have your mustache right now to twist.
Right. I need something to twirl in order to answer this question properly.
Just puff on your pipe, you'll be fine.
I would say that 30 to 60 days is probably a decent benchmark without giving it too much thought. I mean, most companies like ours, for example, we'll offer our gym owners terms, and our terms are 30 days. So that means, we send you a shipment of O2, and a lot of our customers will pay for it up front, but we'll give you 30 days to pay for it, and that way it gives you a chance to sell through it. And if you're doing retail right, selling through, our average shipments between, I would say, 6 and 12 cases. Selling through 6 or 12 cases of our product in a month is not that difficult to do if you're doing retail intelligently. And so not only have you made your money back in order to pay us, but you've also made a significant profit on top of that to buy other stuff, or to pay your front desk person or whatever. So I think that it's not too tricky, and it doesn't take too long. It just takes the right moves.
Okay, we're going to pause the show for just a moment to do something a little different today. We want to thank our listeners by giving 3 of you a free case of Formula O2. Here's how it works. All you have to do is head to Facebook, write a post mentioning that you've been listening to our podcast, and add the hashtag SweatAngelsO2. That's SweatAngelsO2. We'll pick 3 of you as winners, and we'll send you a Facebook message to let you know you've won. And that's it. So again, all you have to do is head to Facebook, mention us in a post, and add the hashtag SweatAngelsO2, and we'll pick 3 of you to receive a free case of Formula O2. Got it? Okay, back to the show.
Have you seen a few, and we're finishing up, but I wanted to make sure I asked, has there been retail operations in gyms that you've seen that were really put together? And then,
no, absolutely.
So what do you notice as kind of a trend with those?
So, all right. So since we're wrapping up, I'll tell you this much. Retail is retail, whether you're retailing something in a CrossFit gym or retailing something at Whole Foods. It comes down to 3 things. It comes down to visibility, number 1. It comes down to number 2 is just product education. So education on what you're carrying. And number 3, it comes down to ease of access. So how you charge people for stuff. Visibility is pretty straightforward. In order for somebody to even consider buying a product, they have to see it for sale first, And I actually see this missed a lot. A lot of gyms that I visit.
Put the shirts under the desk.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It happens a lot. Yeah.
A traditional refrigerator without a glass door in the back room or whatever. Nobody's going to see that stuff, and as a result, nobody's going to even think about buying it. So in order for somebody to even think about buying something, they first have to see it. This is why brands fight for shelf space at the grocery store. So number 2, education. Once they see something, doesn't mean they're automatically going to want to buy it. You've got to give them a reason to want to buy it. So for us, that comes down to, we sample Formula O2 ourselves a lot at places like Whole Foods. I'll do it a lot when I visit different gyms. I'll just work out and then sample it after. But in large part, it comes down to the gym. Sample the products out that you sell so that you've given people a reason to consider buying those products.
I have one add-on for that one too.
Yeah,
why you said that, because it's something that we do here that I think works. So when you have a new product come to retail, announce that during classes and just spend like 20 to 30 seconds talking about the new product and why you guys brought it in. And then maybe 4 to 5 Facebook posts of a coach using that product over the first few weeks. Those things will do wonders to get people educated on why you have this thing. Because like you said, we could add something new tomorrow, but if we didn't tell anyone, it would never sell. No one would even know it's there. So that class, especially with group classes, before class, 20 seconds, hey, we have this new product. This is why we brought it in. We love you guys. This is how much it costs. Right. We're doing a sample this weekend. That stuff goes a long way.
It makes perfect sense, and it's so easy to do. But honestly, it's just not done nearly as much as it should be. I think that's a great idea, and I'm not surprised that it works, Matt. But I don't see many gyms out there doing stuff like that. And as a result, the stuff that they take in just kind of sits there. Mm-hmm. But it's the onus is on you, the gym owner, right? If you've brought something in, then you've got to sell it, And the way to sell it is to make it visible and educate your members about it and make it easy to purchase. So those are the 3 things. Pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science, but it does take a little bit of work, but it doesn't have to be a lot of work.
Boom. 1, 2, 3. Dave, we want to thank you for being on the show with us today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, guys. It was fun.
You'll be able to do your second episode when you grow that mustache back out.
See, I've got to start here. I was planning on shaving tonight, but you? Yeah.
And everybody, be sure to check out Dave's commercial in a hot tub.
Yeah, we'll put a link for it on the blog post related to this.
That was a great commercial, Dave.
I saw the blooper you did the other day for that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, that one was kind of fun to film.
It's awesome. Well, it was great having you, and like always, we're always happy to talk and share ideas.
It was fun, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thanks again, Dave. Thanks again for listening today. The Gym Owner's Guide to the Galaxy was produced by Matt Sharp, Jeremy Russell, and me, John Ruggie. To make sure you catch every episode, search for The Gym Owner's Guide to the Galaxy on iTunes or wherever you download podcasts. We're always looking for industry leaders to interview on the show, so if there's anyone you'd like to see us feature on a future episode, let us know at podcast@causely.com. That's causely.com.
We are a production of Sweat Angels, the #1 referral program for gym owners. Sweat Angels helps drive new members at your gym by combining Facebook check-ins with giving back. If you haven't heard of us, just go to causely.com/Sweat Angels or search for us on Facebook. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on the Gym Owner's Guide to the Galaxy. So you're just going to say we met, talk about how we met and stuff, and go right into that.
Unfortunately, I can't remember how we met.
That's a problem. Talk about that.
That hurts, John. That hurts.
We met at the CrossFit event a couple years ago. Dave had a crazy mustache, and we were both scrappy as hell.